Hi guys, it's KJM and it's time for another Miracles of Christmas, aka Hallmark Mystery Movie Review. Last Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, a novel Noel premiered starring Brandon Penny and Julie Gonzalo. Now, I like to think of Julie as the queen of Hallmark's autumn because I still love watching her Falling for Vermont. Love it, starring her and Benjamin Ayres. It's one of my all-time favorite Hallmark movies. And she's done a couple other really great movies in autumn. So I've seen her in some Christmas movies, but I feel like her autumn movies kind of shine. But I will say this, I really enjoyed a novel Noel. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Now, Brandon Penny, I was not a huge fan of him, but he is actually, like Aaron Krakow, he's like growing on me. So like 2 years ago, he had that movie during Countdown to Christmas where he's a music teacher and there's like a choir competition. Really loved him in that movie. And then last year, during Merry Thanksgiving week, he actually kicked it off over on Hallmark Mystery with the movie A Season for Family, which is still on my DVR a year later, because y'all know we're in Merry Thanksgiving week. It hasn't started yet because it's Tuesday, but it's being kicked off tomorrow. Anyway, given his repertoire of those last couple of movies, he's started to grow on me. There's some Hallmark actors and actresses that just have to grow on you. So anyway, I'm giving a novel, Noel, an 8 out of 10. Let's get into the premise. All right, we have Harper, played by Julie, and Sawyer, played by Brandon. Now, here's the thing. Before I get into what the characters are, they're clearly named after literary greats, depending on what you enjoyed reading, right? She's clearly named after Harper Lee, the writer of To Kill a Mockingbird, an amazing, amazing book that most of us read growing up, right? He is clearly named after Tom Sawyer, at least I hope I'm right, from The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by the author Mark Twain. Now, some see Mark Twain as a literary great. I don't. I have read The Adventures of Huck and Finn, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and I was forced to read those books. It was not by choice. To Kill a Mockingbird, however, I will always recommend. I don't know, fight me if you want, if you're a Mark Twain fan. I am not. And I feel, especially as a Black person in America, having to read those books it was actually pretty torturous for me as a child, that it was required reading. And I have to read some of the most ignorant shit I have ever read in my life. Whereas To Kill a Mockingbird, a lot of things happen. We see a lot of social injustice, but it is a powerful book. It has a message. I'm not sure what Adventures of Tom Sawyer, what message that has, but anyway. So, you know where I stand. Anyway, Harper is an editor in New York City, but she needs a break. She's feeling burnt out. Also, we find out she suffered a great loss a year ago. She had lost her best friend. And so now she needs a break. Christmas is approaching. She just doesn't feel like, editing books and, for franchises that her heart's not into. She just needs a break. She had applied to work above this quaint little bookstore in St. Ives. I think it's Maine, right? And so she would live above the bookstore and then she would work in the bookstore. She actually gets in this Christmas and is now going to be able to fulfill this dream. She's been on this waiting list for years. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if I needed a break from editing, and I have edited many different types of books, theses, like all this other stuff in my lifetime, if I wanted a break from all of that, I certainly wouldn't want to work above a bookstore. Or work in a bookstore and live above it. I would want to just completely break away from the literary word altogether. But I guess the thing is, she's going to St. Ives to find her spark back, to find out if she still loves editing books. And it turns out she does. When she arrives, she immediately meets Sawyer and they kind of don't hit it off. He's got a wine bar in the bookstore and she doesn't approve. Okay, Missy, wine and reading books do go hand to hand. Hand in hand. If you go to book clubs, adult book clubs, there's going to be some wine and some cheese there and some crackers, babe. If you build it, they will come. I understand you can read a good book without a glass of wine. I could read a good book without a glass of wine as well, but wine and books go together. Anyway, she finds it so offensive that he's got this wine bar in there, and he says he put it in there a couple years ago to increase his parents' business so that they don't lose the bookstore, right? Now business is doing so well that somebody's actually trying to buy the bookstore and is giving a very good offer. Sawyer is really conflicted on what he should do there. Now Harper is at the bookstore and he's teaching her the ropes, and he doesn't know that she's an editor. He just knows she came from New York and she's in this bookstore. She's a quick learner. She starts to have some ideas of how he can advertise the books in his bookstore, and sales are booming. So the two of them at first, they clash, as I believe Mark Twain and Harper Lee probably would in real life. As the two of them clash, they finally find out that there are some traits that each person has that really works, right? So Sawyer's idea to pair wine in the bookstore, have a wine bar, is brilliant, babe. It's absolutely brilliant. And then her ideas of focusing on certain books and placing bestsellers in certain places and giving people, options, to pick up books maybe they have never heard of, it also works. The two of them start to go around St. Ives, and they're doing St. Ives Christmas traditions as they're managing the bookstore. Sparks soon start to fly between the two of them, and now they are like totally falling for each other. But she's had a life where she's done all these amazing things. He still really wants to travel. And can it really work? Well, it turns out that when Harper starts her own book club at the bookstore for writers, she finds out that Sawyer's a writer, and it turns out he's written this beautiful manuscript. Now, if you're wondering what was in the manuscript, we will never know, because they don't talk about it, and I don't think it's Christmas related. Okay? But it's beautiful. She edits it. She sends it to her editor, and her editor's like, we don't really deal with small-time writers. And Harper's like, I believe in this book. Her editor immediately reads it, says she wants to publish it. This is in the makings. Now Sawyer has to decide, does he cling to the bookstore, or does he cling to his first love, which is writing, and go and travel the world and write from anywhere like he wants to? Well, he decides, instead of choosing love with Harper, he's going to head to the continent of Asia, and he is going to write from there and then continue to travel. Well, 1 year passed, his book is out, he's about to start a book tour, and he comes back to New York to get his lady Harper, who's back to editing because she found out she loves being an editor. And he realizes that none of this success is anything without the woman that believed in him. Oh, yes. This is Christmas. Okay, so this is a movie that does it very well, where they mix a theme that has nothing to do with Christmas, like editing, along with Christmas traditions, and it works. It doesn't feel like Christmas was in the background. It feels like Christmas was working hand in hand with the literary word, and remembering the spirit of Christmas, and remembering love, and remembering that they belong together. Okay, Julie actually looked wonderful in her bangs, honey, and it's not easy to carry the bangs as a grown adult, and she looked wonderful. They had chemistry. It was great. I'm giving a novel, Noel, an 8 out of 10. Well done, Julie and Brandon. Can't wait to see what you guys do next year. And all right, on to the next review.